was today years old when I found out that the kid who tipped his cap to Derek Jeter and the hat said respect. I thought it was just some random moment set up by the baseball gods to set up a, kind of send off for Derek Jeter, and it would live on forever as a gift. But that was Derek Jeter's nephew. He was at the Hall of Fame induction yesterday for Derek, and honestly, I should have put two and two together because Derek Jeter's mother is holding the kid, and also that's Derek Jeter's dad. Am I stupid? Anyways, what's going on, everyone? It's Fuzzy. Welcome back to yet another MLB recap. If this is your first time on the channel, we do this every single day, so don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button, as well as if you're going to any baseball games anytime soon, use code Fuzzy on SeatGeek to save yourself 20 bucks off your ticket order. So we saw Derek Jeter as well as Larry Walker get inducted into the Hall of Fame. I really like the pin that Mr. Walker was wearing, a SpongeBob pin. Yesterday, the Yankees, they continued to implode. Bryce Harper and Salvador Perez, they stay hot, and the Mariners, they're making a wild card push right now. Of course, like we do with any MLB recap, we start off the video with the walk-offs from the day before. So we have two of them. The Marlins versus the Mets is the first one. Alex Jackson, who was traded for at the deadline, he brings in another guy that was traded for, Brian De La Cruz, and then Michael Conforto later on in the game, because Rich Hill and Sandy Alcantara, they were battling back and forth. So the score was 1-1 going into the final innings. They both only allowed one earned run on 8+ strikeouts. Sandy was throwing 102 miles an hour in the 8th inning. He goes 9 innings with 14 strikeouts, only one walk allowed. Just unfortunately, he was not able to pick up the W. Brian De La Cruz, he continues to impress. I mean, honestly, Kim Ng bodied that trade. He has been so good. He walks it off. He is now hitting .342 with the 136 OPS plus, where the league average is 100 in his first 35 games. That is sensational. The Cubs versus the Reds, we have Ian Happ going 445 feet. Good Lord. So a week ago, his OPS plus was sitting at 85, and he was not happy with that. Now has a 95 OPS plus on the season. And then Vlad Gutierrez as well as Alec Mills. It was kind of a Sandy Alcantara versus Rich Hill 2.0. They were both good. They only allowed one earned run, and Vlad only allowed 2 base hits. So this one, just like the Marlins versus the Mets, needs extra innings. And Jason Hayward, he shows up, and he better for $21 million. He has a 68 OPS plus. That is horrible, but that is good news for Padres fans because the Reds lose and the Padres won yesterday. So they're one game ahead of them in the wild card. We'll talk about that in just a moment, because Tatis, he showed off the arm for his first outfield assist of the season. And then Adam Frazier starts an 8-run second inning for San Diego. Jake Cronenworth drives in an RBI on a single, and the next 3 runs were all walked in, courtesy of the Angels' abhorrent pitching staff. Frazier caps it off with a 2-run single. Good for him, because he has been atrocious ever since he joined San Diego. Yu Darvish, speaking of atrocious, he's been that over the last 2 months. He finally shows up, 7 strikeouts in 6 innings. Joe Adell, I do want to mention, even though the Angels did take the L, he stays hot with a 2-run Oppo Taco. But like we just mentioned, the Padres, they reclaim sole possession thanks to Mr. Hayward and his walk-off home run over the Cincinnati Reds for second place in the wild card spot. I'm not even really sure how to describe the season that Bryce Harper is having, aside from, if you still call him overrated, you need to go get your brain checked or something. I don't know. I'm going to keep it nice. He now has 29 home runs and a whopping 174 OPS plus. Omar Narvaez then makes it 1-1 on a double, and Vogie takes the lead on a bases-loaded walk. Christian Yelich, in my opinion, gets pretty lucky. He gets scored a RBI single, but I thought it was a fielder's choice. Now the Phillies do come back to tie it up as Bryce Harper takes a base-loaded walk, and then JT, he brings in the tying run on a fielder's choice. And then Eduardo Escobar, Eddie, he was slowed down a little bit the last few weeks with a hamstring injury, but there you go. He is back on top of the world. And Luis Urias secures Josh Hader's 30th save on one of the better web gems that I've seen at shortstop all year. So the Brewers, they win 4-3 over the Phillies. The Cardinals versus the Dodgers. Nolan Arenado has an RBI ground out, and Yadier Molina belts his 10th home run of the year. So he is just 2 base hits away from 2,100 for his career. That's pretty good for a catcher. Edmundo Sosa brings in Yadier Molina in the 4th, and then Max Muncy, man, he turns on this one. A no-doubt shot for his 31st home run of the year. Now the Cardinals do need more, and they get it courtesy of Tyler O'Neill. He has 24 home runs, 11 stolen bases, a 4.7 WAR on the season, and he's top 2% in sprint speed. You should not be that fast while also being that strong as a hitter. So St. Louis, they leave in Waino because the bullpen has been thrashed as of late, and it actually cost them. Wainwright gives up 4 earned runs, and even though the bullpen was drained, Gallegos, he holds it down for his 5th save of the year, and the Cardinals, they win 5-4. We'll talk about the wild card standings in just a moment, but let's talk about the Giants versus the Rockies, because it was kind of a meaningless game. Well, not really, because the Dodgers are still playing well, so the Giants have to win as many games as possible. But in terms of the wild card, not really much changed. John Gray, the starting pitcher for the Rockies, drove in the first one of the game in the 5th inning, so it was a boring first 4. Colorado ends up with 3 in the 5th, and John Gray was dealing 5 shutout innings until Brandon Crawford goes the other way. He connects on homer number 20. He has a 135 OPS plus at I think 33 years old or something crazy like that, maybe even 34. Elias Diaz answers with a go-ahead bomb, but then Lamont Wade Jr. locks in and drives in 2 RBIs on a single in the 9th, and Longoria adds 2 more on a double as Jake McGee also, just like Josh Hader, grabs his 30th save of the year. So the Giants have now won 4 games in a row, and they're 2 games ahead of first place for the Dodgers, and they're the first team in Major League Baseball to 90 wins. And then last but not least, for the NL matchups from yesterday, we have the Nationals versus the Braves. Josh Bell, he grounds out for the first run of the game, and then we had some drama in the bottom of the first. So Freddie Freeman, he got hit by a pitch because in the game before, Will Smith in the final inning hit Juan Soto, so it was kind of, you're going to hit my best player, I'm going to hit yours. That pitcher ends up getting ejected. I believe his name was Nolan. Freeman and Juan Soto actually talk it over after the inning is done with, and then Freeman walks all the way to the manager. All of a sudden, I'm blanking on his name. I think it's Davey Martinez. If I'm wrong, you guys can let me know. But that was kind of the end of that situation. Josh Bell hits homer number 25. He has 78 RBIs, and he has been well above average this year. I'm happy for him because he stunk it up in 2020. Duvall and Eddie Rosario both homered to tie it up, and Juan Soto barrels up a 432-foot moonshot, and Luis Garcia, he might be a better hitter versus lefties than righties. He is so good. He doubles in Yadiel Hernandez as Finnegan secures his 8th save of the year. So the wild card, this is how it's shaping up after highlighting all of the NL games. The Padres are 1 game ahead of the Reds for 2nd place, and then the Phillies, Cardinals, and the Mets are all within 5 games. This is going to be crazy, but I'm here for it. The Red Sox faced off against the Rays yesterday, and why do people still run on Hunter Renfroe? I call him Hunter Renthrow. What a performance from both starting pitchers. You have Shane McClanahan tossing 5 shutout on 1 walk, and Nathan Eovaldi one-upped him. He was even better. 7 shutout innings on 8 strikeouts, and Wander Franco, he was 0 for 3 coming into his final at-bat, and he takes the walk in the 8th inning. He now has gotten on base 38 times in a row. He is just 5 games away from tying Frank Robinson. Staying with the 8th inning, Nelson Cruz knocks in Brandon Lau for the lead. But Hunter Renfroe delivers with his 27th bomb of the year. He gives Robles the lead, and then he ends the game on an absolute dart to throw out Joey Wendell, who was trying his best to get in scoring position. I mean, he still would have been if he stayed at second base, but I can respect the hustle. The Rays are way ahead in first place. They can afford this L. The Jays versus the Yankees. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. scores on a wild pitch. Luis Gil had 7 walks in yesterday's game. I just want to mention that, as Marcus Semien brings in 2 as he refuses to stop punishing the Yankees fan base. Brett Gardner, the 47-year-old phenom, he's the last Yankee left on the roster ever since Derek Jeter retired. So again, the final guy, and of course, he hits a 3-run home run on the day that Jeter gets inducted. But that was it though, as Teoscar Hernandez knocks in Semien. Jake Lamb hits a sac fly and scores Gerard Dyson after he was pinch running for, I think it was Lourdes, after Lourdes hit a triple. Vladdy hits a 114-mile-per-hour missile off of Chapman for homer number 41. And Gerard Dyson, not only does that base running come in clutch, but the defense as well. The Jays are now on a 7-game winning streak, and they're 1.5 games back of the Yankees now for second place in the wild card. Another wild card team I want to bring up, the Mariners. They were facing off, I think, in their final game against the Astros. They're trying to avoid a sweep, and let's see if they can do it. Abraham Toro, he brings in 2 versus his former team, and Kyle Tucker, he cuts the deficit in half, and Marwin Gonzalez grabs the lead on his first home run ever since he rejoined the Houston Astros, and Altuve, he connects with homer number 27. Jared Kelenic, this might be his biggest hit of the year. He clutches up in the 7th with a 2-run double. The score is knotted at 4-4 going into the 9th inning, and Marmoleos, he knocks in 2, and J.P. Crawford blasts a 2-run shot as the Mariners improve to 2.5 games back of the Yankees for the 2nd spot in that wild card. And then last but not least, for wild card teams in the AL, the A's versus the White Sox. Matt Chapman, he starts off the scoring with his 25th home run. Yan Gomes, he drives an RBI in the 4th, and Matt Olson does the same in the 5th. The A's score 2 more off the bats of Chad Pinder and Elvis Andrus, but it really was not needed because Frankie Montas was incredible yesterday. He was pumping upper 90s in the 7th inning. He ends with 7 strikeouts, only that 1 earned run. In Oakland, they're just a half game back of Seattle in the wild card and in their own division. So here's how the wild card is shaping up. The Red Sox are back in first place after the Jays beat the Yankees. The Jays are 1.5 games back of the Yankees for second place, and the Mariners and the A's are all within 3 games. It's going to be madness. And then the final 4 games from yesterday, let's recap them real quick. The Twins yet again beat Cleveland at 3-0. No, it was not deja vu. Joe Ryan faced off against Tristan McKenzie, and I feel like this is going to be a lot of fun to watch for the next decade. Joe Ryan starts off the game by tossing 4 perfect innings, and then he finally gets some run support in the 5th via a Nick Gordon double. Tristan McKenzie, he was sick though. 1 walk on 7 strikeouts, only allowed 3 base hits, but Joe Ryan was literally perfect through 6 innings. Miguel Sano blasted a 450-foot bomb, and Joe Ryan ends up with a 7-inning shutout performance. He allowed 1 base hit on 0 walks and 7 strikeouts. That kid is so good, and Duffy strikes out 2 to get the save. Tigers beat the Pirates, and you cannot stop Miguel Cabrera over the last 48 hours. He brings in an RBI on a double to give him a hit in 4 consecutive at-bats. He makes it 5 straight at-bats as he grabs an RBI single in the 3rd. Then he makes it 6 for his last 6 as Jeimer Candelario brings in Robbie Grossman to make it 4-1, but then Grossman, he doesn't need help on this home run, and Miggy, he ends up going 7 for 7 over his last 7 at-bats. He is just 29 hits away from 3,000. I hope that he just goes off for the rest of the year and grabs it before the season ends. The Orioles versus the Royals, this was a crazy game. The Royals, they breezed through the first 6 innings. They score 4, and Mike Minor tosses 6 shutout innings, and Salvador Perez, he adds to the party with his 42nd home run, just 1 behind Shohei Ohtani. But then Baltimore, I don't know if they activated hurricane winds or whatever. The ball was just flying, and they were getting all of the luck. You have Austin Hayes sparking the rally with an RBI double. 3 singles later, it's tied up at 5-5, and Ramon Urias scores on an error as Mountcastle caps off a 9-run 8th inning with his 26th home run of the year. Now, Benny Biceps does come back to make it a 1-run game by going yard, but you have Taylor Wells grabbing the save as the Orioles. An improbable 9-8 victory, and the last but not least, the Rangers faced off against the Diamondbacks. Nate Lowe triples in DJ Peters as Nick Solak was able to grab an RBI on an infield single. Trevino and Pozo driving 4 between the 6th, 7th, and 8th innings, and they end up winning 8-5. So Texas is on a 4-game winning streak. Now, it has come against Colorado and Arizona, but it's still cool. All right, everyone. Well, that does it for today's MLB recap. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed or learned something new, leave a like and subscribe. Save yourself some money. Use code Fuzzy on SeatGeek and enjoy this day in MLB history.